In the late 1960s, the battle for automotive dominance didn't happen on a test track. It happened here on the crowded floors of motor salons. Back then, manufacturers chased exactly one number to prove their superiority. A buyer wanted to know the absolute maximum velocity a car could achieve before the wind or the tires tore it apart. Lamborghini arrived at the 1966 Geneva Motor Show and rejected existing engineering norms with this car, the Miura. Ferruccio Lamborghini was a tractor manufacturer who felt slighted by the local elites. He instructed his engineers to build a machine so extreme it would make the established heavyweights look obsolete. That target was Ferrari. 2 years later, the empire struck back with the 365 GTB/4 Daytona, a front-engine sledgehammer designed specifically to reclaim the throne. This specific rivalry forced a divergence in engineering philosophy. It leaves modern collectors choosing between the chaotic blueprint of the first modern supercar and the highly polished evolution of the traditional Grand Tour. This matrix shows how the Miura and Daytona stack up against each other. Look at the top speed data. Lamborghini claimed nearly 180 miles per hour for the Miura, while Ferrari recorded a highly stable 174. The methods they used to hit those numbers diverge here at the engine architecture. Lamborghini mounted their V12 in the middle of the chassis, while Ferrari stuck with a traditional front-engine setup. Then we factor in production volume. Lamborghini built roughly 760 Miuras. Ferrari produced over 1,400 Daytonas. That scarcity drives a massive financial gap today. A Miura averages $1.6 million. The Daytona sits between $800,000 and $900,000. The question is whether the Miura's ownership experience justifies paying double the price. For actual drivers, the Ferrari makes a strong case as the smart money choice. To understand why these cars behave differently, we must strip away the bodywork. Architecture dictates destiny. This schematic shows Lamborghini's radical solution. They took a 3.9-liter V12 and mounted it sideways, directly behind the driver to optimize weight distribution. But that layout forces some brutal compromises. If you are over 5'9", the cabin is cramped. Worse, you have a screaming, heat-generating engine bolted just inches from your back. Then there is the undeniable aerodynamic reality of the car. The Miura's sharp, wedge-like nose acts like an airplane wing at velocity, creating terrifying front-end lift that makes the steering feel dangerously light. Ferrari rejected that mid-engine layout entirely. This diagram illustrates their approach. A massive 4.4-liter V12 mounted vertically right in the front nose of the chassis. That front engine placement results in a heavier car, but it anchors the front tires to the road. It also pushes the firewall forward, creating a spacious and temperate cabin for the driver. Dan Gurney and Brock Yates proved the effectiveness of this layout in 1971. They drove a Daytona from New York to Los Angeles in 35 hours and 54 minutes, averaging over 80 miles per hour. The Miura gives you the unpredictable thrill of an exotic racing experiment. The Daytona gives you the highly predictable, perfected evolution of the Grand Tourer. Theory is one thing. Actually maintaining and starting a 50-year-old Italian exotic is a completely different reality. Early Miuras utilized a shared oil sump, meaning the exact same fluid had to lubricate both the high-revving engine and the grinding gearbox. Top that off with a bank of primitive Weber carburetors, and the mechanical complexity skyrockets. Just turning the key requires precision. A cold start means pumping the throttle exactly 3 times and listening for the fuel pumps to slow down. If you get the procedure wrong, the car will not run. If those carburetors are improperly tuned, the needle valves and floats can fail. When that happens, raw fuel overflows directly onto a hot engine block, violently igniting and resulting in catastrophic engine fires. The Daytona avoids this anxiety. Ferrari utilized established, well-tested cooling and fuel delivery systems. Turn the key, the V12 fires up, and mechanical reliability holds true for thousands of miles. Buyers accept the literal fire hazards of the Miura because of its immense cultural cachet. It drew the ultimate high-status clientele, including Frank Sinatra. It also attracted cultural revolutionaries. Miles Davis famously pushed his Miura to its absolute limits, ultimately crashing it in 1972. The car was dangerous, and that was exactly the appeal. Visual details like the low stance and those iconic horizontal rear window slots cemented its status. It was a rolling sculpture. Its aesthetic impact far outweighed its practical utility as transport. Owning a Miura means accepting the high-friction maintenance of a museum piece. Owning a Daytona means possessing a reliable mechanical tool that you can actually use. Let's translate 50 years of historical and mechanical data into a practical strategy for a modern buyer staring down a seven-figure purchase. This quadrant chart plots the ownership experience. The horizontal axis measures drivability and comfort, while the vertical axis tracks the maintenance effort and overall quirkiness. The Daytona requires a moderate financial effort to maintain, but it delivers exceptionally high drivability. The Miura requires extreme maintenance effort and constant tuning, while offering very low practical drivability on modern roads. This flowchart gives us the ultimate buyer's decision tree. It starts with one primary question: what is your goal for the vehicle? If your goal is securing a blue-chip investment or winning trophies on a concourse show field, the path points directly to the Lamborghini Miura. Choosing the Lamborghini secures extreme scarcity and historical significance. That guarantees peak asset appreciation, safely anchoring your capital. If you are a dedicated driver who wants to cover over 1,000 miles a year in vintage rallies without ending up on a flatbed tow truck, the path points directly to the Ferrari Daytona. The Lamborghini Miura remains the choice for preserving automotive history, but the Ferrari Daytona is the choice for actually experiencing it from behind the wheel, all while keeping nearly $1 million in the bank.